Okay. Okay, so we're going to start the meeting. I'm going to move right into, we have one agenda item. It is a renaming of the basketball courts in Cooper Park. And I've asked a good friend of mine, hi Deborah Bender from Cooper Park. She's does everything over there, so I think she would probably be the best to let us know. Am I saying this right? Tarika Sparks, is that correct?
Torian Spears.
Spears, I'm sorry, I'm reading wrong. So I'm gonna give you the floor. Please tell us a little something and let us know what's going on, okay?
Good evening, all. Thank you for this opportunity to speak at this Park and Waterfront Committee meeting. Torian Spears was born and raised in Cooper Park houses. Torian was a mentor to the youth and to his peers. He worked in the community center as well. Torian spent most of his time in the basketball courts with the kids, teaching them right from wrong. And he really stressed them about getting their education. All right, his dialogue was education. He led by example. He didn't want the kids to get into no trouble out here with the streets or use drugs, alcohol. He was really against violence. And I think naming that basketball court in honor will be a great asset to this community because the kids still go out there and they remember all the conversations that Torian had with them. And I don't think there's a day that goes by without his name being mentioned. Torian died in the place that he loved. He died on that basketball court playing with those kids. And it would be a great honor for those kids to go in that park and as playing and see on the ground or on the fence his name to remember the person that taught them something. So I'm asking that this board, this committee, rename Broad Street Playground Basketball Court in honor of Torian. We've held several events over the summer in honor of Torian. We've been holding basketball tournaments called E for T, and we did a short film about his life as well.
Wow, very nice. How long ago did he pass, Deborah?
Coming up this year is going to be 4 years.
Very sad, very, very sad.
So we've been holding, we're having a tournament coming up this year as well. So
very nice.
But along with that, I would like to say that Broad Street Playground is like a gathering spot. It's not only for the outdoor activities, but with kids and adults sit down and talk. But there's a piece that's missing besides the naming of that basketball court. And that is a swing for those that are wheelchair bound.
Yes.
All right. That's part is so missed out because kids or adults who have never had the opportunity to get on a swing, this would allow them the opportunity to get on a swing. And I've been fighting for this for a long time, and I'm praying that this committee would eventually either put it in Cooper Park, which is down the block of Maspeth, or the Frosty Playground. So our kids can have opportunities, or the adults, to experience just something so simple as getting on a swing.
Deborah, I must tell you, you haven't gone. We have not failed to listen to you. The last meeting we had, we made a motion, and that was one of the items that we did add. We said that we would like to see handicap accessible swings put into all playgrounds. And we will, going forward, that will be something we will add on every time we do a park design these days. So I want you to know, I know why you do it, and we're with you 100% on that. Okay.
Thank you.
So, would anyone like to make a motion to rename the basketball courts?
I'll make a motion, Phil.
And Steve seconds it.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. Deborah, I want to thank you very, very much. We'll present this to the full board in February, and it will pass along. And I want to see that name up there ASAP this summer. Okay.
Thank
Phil,
you. Thank you. Thank
can I
you.
add one thing? Do you think, in addition to the resolution about the name, we can have a resolution about the swing that's not park specific? And because I know we tagged it on to the last playground that we voted on last month, but maybe we can have a resolution of its own asking parks as soon as possible to get to work on that.
Why don't we do that as I like your idea, Trina. Why don't we do it as a separate
That's what I'm asking. Yeah, separate from
Perfect,
this.
yeah. We've already did the renaming, that's done. But
Right.
if you would like to make a motion and put something, I'd be more than happy to support you 1,000% in that.
Right. Well, you just very articulately said what we actually said, what we had done at the last meeting, but we didn't do it as a standalone resolution. So do you want to repeat what you said?
Something to the effect of moving forward, in all playground designs, we would want parks to put handicap accessible play equipment in these, in the playgrounds.
I think we've got to say swings because they
Exactly.
do put at least a swing in a park because what they're saying is that one hasn't been designed that meets their qualifications, and it also takes a particular amount of room, and you don't have that space in all the playgrounds, but that we want at least one soon for them to get going.
So we want to be more specific. So we'll say moving forward, we would like parks to put handicapped accessible swings in all playgrounds.
Handicapped accessible swing.
Phil, could I just say
Mary, go ahead, jump in.
So we do have some handicap accessible swings that are in the playgrounds now. They're called our T-swings. These particular swings, though, you would have to lift a child into the swing, and it's not for an adult. It's a smaller swing, and I don't think that that's what Deborah's asking.
Not what I'm asking.
But
Isn't
we
swing-
do put handicap accessible swings in our playground. It's just not the same that she's asking. And we do, Trina's right, we do have various forms of accessible equipment.
You have that. And so is there a specific, is there a specific name to say what that is? What she's asking for?
I don't know the name of the swing.
It's a wheelchair accessible swing. The whole wheelchair goes on the swing.
Oh, it's a wheelchair accessible. Can we
Yes.
use that terminology?
Yes.
Okay, wheelchair accessible swing.
And could we have in the future, Phil,
Yes, Jan.
at the Parks Committee, bring in some handicap design people to give us an idea of what it would really be like if we were thinking well about handicapped people in the future. This is a beginning with the wheelchair handicap, but let's learn about it. This is too long.
Definitely, Jan, definitely. So do we want to stay, Trina, do you want to stay with this resolution then? That we'd say moving forward, we're going to ask parks to put in wheelchair accessible swings in future design?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, but it doesn't work in all, I mean, you need a particular amount of space, and that's what we were told. And I don't know if the design has actually been approved by parks, but we want CB1 CB1 parks to have these, or to at least have one to begin with. I mean, because I think it's too much to say. If we actually want them everywhere, we're not going to get them, but at least we want them to, or get one in place, and then
Use the word consider in
Steve.
designs, something like that.
Are we talking about Frost Playground or future?
All future playgrounds. Where we did, I think, Mary, the last time we did it was for Berry Park, right? Berry Street Park.
So we had the last design you approved was Berry Street
Berry
Playground.
Street Park, right?
Yeah.
And we incorporated that into the motion. But I know what Deborah's asking for, because Deborah asks for it all the time, and we just want to be, it maybe not happen tomorrow, but it's a start, as Jan said. It's a start to get us going and to let parks move into it. And Jan's right, maybe we can get a design team in. So that would be a great idea, Jan, to see.
Learn about it, yes.
Phil, if I just make a statement, it's not just Deborah. It's just not Deborah alone. It's the community. In Cooper Park, I know 5 families that have children on wheelchair, and it's a sad look to see them not being able to participate. So it's the community asking for it.
Well, it is, William, it is, but I know Deborah's
Deborah's led the fight. So.
Yes, that's it. There you go. That's the way to put it. Yes, but it is the community.
There's no Mary. There's no capital funding for Frost Playground. I know the basketball courts have a planned project coming up, but not the playground.
Courts are going to start in the spring. But we don't have a fully funded playground project now.
How do we get a fully funded playground?
I would say you advocate to your council member for funding. The borough president can also help with funding. The Parks Department doesn't have an independent capital budget for this.
But we start with the Parks Committee, moving through the committee board to our council people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would make a motion. I mean, the resolution we just talked about, one thing, but perhaps one to suggest funding for Frost Playground, especially if there is an allocation, but it's not fully funded, you know, and include in that accessible play equipment as an overall investment in the playground, which hasn't been redone since the 90s, right?
I don't have that date in front of me.
So we want to
But
make.
we're not asking for accessible play equipment. We're asking for a wheelchair swing.
Yeah, we have to be very specific in that, right, Trina?
And we make it so it's a point of design for parks now that in all of our playground projects moving forward, we include accessible equipment
That's what I'm saying,
across the board.
to go beyond
Across
to.
the board.
Mary, is there,
We don't have a wheelchair swing that has been approved
Right.
yet that meets ASTM guidelines, so we don't have that yet. We are always looking for new designs, and we're always looking for more accessibility in our playgrounds. But just as a standard, we do have accessible playgrounds.
Yes, yeah.
How are we getting this then? We can't put off, why does the Parks Department not have a wheelchair accessible? It must exist someplace. It doesn't it, Deborah?
Yes, it does. NYU Hospital, my son was there and had the opportunity to use a swing.
So we can't have that be an excuse. We need the Parks Department to step up and get into the modern times. So we have.
well, that's maybe our resolution should be that to push the Parks Department to find find and approve a wheelchair accessible
Right. That's right.
swing for placement in CB1 parks.
Right. Well, I know what Katie was asking for about 4th Street. If you want to do that separate, I think this is very important. Maybe the wheelchair accessible swing is something we should just keep separate, and then we could always do something for Frost Street if you want.
So let's make one resolution be pushing
Yes.
the Parks Department to find and approve a wheelchair accessible swing for public parks in CB1.
Okay, there you go.
Separately, because they've got to do that before we can find the park. And then separately, we can have a resolution about the play equipment in Frost Street Park.
Right. So if you want, that's a very, I like that a lot, Trina. So if you just want to repeat that, and if someone would like to say, that's a motion I'd like to keep separate from Frost Street.
Well, we recommend that the board write a letter to
Right.
the Parks Department looking
To find and approve.
a wheelchair accessible swing for placement in city parks and especially CB1 parks.
Right.
In a timely manner.
Yeah, in a timely manner.
Definitely. Okay, city parks and CB1 parks in a timely manner. Very good. Someone like to second that motion on Trina's motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Stephen. And all in favor? Thank you.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And now so Katie, would you like to, do you want to add this, something about Frost Street? Do you want to do a motion on Frost Street? Or what do you think?
Deborah, would you support a motion from the committee to support, I think it would be to the community board and to the elected officials to allocate capital funding for Frost Playground?
Yes.
So that would be my motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. So we're allocating capital funds. We're going to send to parks, all elected officials in the community, that they allocate capital funds for Frost Playground. Sound good?
Yes.
Okay. And Katie made the motion and Trina seconded. And all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? And that motion passes. So we'll present all three of these at the board meeting in February. Wonderful. Thank you. I just want to thank you, Deborah. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work, okay?
Thank you. Good night, all.
Good night, Deborah. Take care. Abraham, if you just want to say a word or two?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, nothing that hasn't already been said. Thank you so much for passing this so
Introduce
seamlessly.
yourself, please. I know who you are. I don't know if everybody else does.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. My name is Abe Lugo. I'm the Williamsburg and East Williamsburg organizer at Councilmember Gutierrez's office. I'm sure you're all familiar with Juan. We tag team on everything now, so you can get used to me too, if that's okay. But no, thank you for passing this. I know this was very important to not only Ms. Benders, but the Cooper Park houses, the surrounding community. And I know that Torian Spears worked in the community center to uplift youth. And not too long ago, I was youth, and he was someone that was a friend and a family man and advocate that led by example. And that's really important to see, especially in our community for the young people that are growing in it. So I know renaming these basketball courts in his name would allow for that same youth and the youth to come to remember the lessons that he taught them. So thank you so much. And whatever support you all may need from me, please let me know. I don't have any updates to give, but I will be having a lengthy report with a bunch of events that are coming up at your February general meeting. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Just one more thing, because it was brought up to my attention. Paul, did anyone come? Did we get any of the friends from Gilbert Ramirez Park?
Yeah, I see a couple of them on here, Phil.
Nice.
And
They did great. I didn't know who you guys were. If you one of you would like to speak or introduce yourself, please be my guest. Daniel, would you want to take the floor first?
Yes, I will be happy to take the floor. Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Gollier. I'm a proud resident of East Williamsburg near the Morgan L stop, and I'm one of the founders of the up-and-coming Friends of Gilbert Ramirez Park. There's a couple of us here. I want to specifically thank the Friends of Cooper Park for helping to give us a boost as we've gotten started. So the introductory presentation can be short. We'll have a more detailed one in about a month after a variety of projects have gotten underway. But generally, our vision for Gilbert Ramirez can be described in two parts. The first is a slate of internal park improvements. So some examples: taking down the chain link fence that surrounds the public garden at the park's eastern edge, gardening in a variety of the plant beds, replacing the threadbare flags that are in the park, and maybe converting the small lawn that is on the western edge of the park into a space that's capable of hosting small events, performances, all kinds of things. The second is external maintenance around the park. So, a la Jane Jacobs in Death and Life of the Great American City, which I'm sure a lot of us have read in Chapter 5 on parks, a park is not merely it doesn't determine its surroundings. It doesn't determine its surroundings. It's often determined by its surroundings. So a lot of the things that we've been doing are a lot of trash pickups around the area, not just around the Morgan Street stop, but around where we live and in larger surroundings all around Gilbert Ramirez Park. That also means dredging some of the tree beds, things like that. And just 2 weeks ago, we had a trash pickup. We had 30 people show up. They were very happy to, and the next one, we hope to get 30 to 50 people. In the first event, we picked up 2,000 pounds of trash. We'd like to outdo ourselves in the next trash pickup and do a variety of other things to help with external maintenance around the park. We have a site walkthrough with various people from parks, I think some of them here today, on Friday to discuss these kinds of things further. But there's a lot of us in the area. We've been doing a variety of maintenance projects for a couple of months now, and we're very excited to more formally get going with a Friends of Gilbert Ramirez Park group.
We're always happy. Please, when you get a chance, unless you're, you have get in touch with the board and leave some contact information. This way we can stay in touch with you, with everybody and all. I must tell you, because I just went on the site today to look at it. It is a very nice park.
Mhm.
It needs work, but it's got a basketball court. It's got a nice playground and stuff like that. A lot of benches and stuff. It's a beautiful looking park. Again, it needs upgrade, but it's a nice looking park.
Yeah, well, one of the things that's our goal is it's a great park, has fantastic bones, but it doesn't really have the foot traffic that we think it could have. We think it could get far more utilization by changing a few things.
Mhm. Is it safe to sit in there? Is there a problem with for that reason, any kind of criminal activity in that park, drug use or anything like that?
Not anything major. I did ask about this when I went to the 90th Precinct's Community Council meeting a couple of weeks ago, and nothing major was on their radar about the park. I don't think that it's anything like that that keeps people from using the park. I think generally it's the park layout. Most of the gates are locked, so if you want to access the park, you either have to be on the far west side or in the middle on the northern side of the park, which means all the people who come up out of the subway on the Morgan stop, they can't route into the park or walk down through it. They're routed off to other sidewalks. So there's a lot of things like literally just opening some gates that would radically increase usage of the park, we think.
Sounds good. Okay. Thank you very much.
Why is he not asking for that now? That the gates be opened? You want them
Yeah,
open?
I think Vinny has something to say on that because we've been talking about this.
Go ahead, Vin.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Vince.
Can't hear you, Vinny.
Can't hear you, Vinny.
He's not talking.
I can't hear you.
He still is not talking, Mary.
No,
he was talking.
He can't unmute himself.
His lips were
I'm looking at
moving.
him. Yeah, I'm looking at him. He can't unmute himself for some reason. Well, his audio's off for some reason.
On mine, his lips are not moving.
Yeah, he's unmuted, but he's unmuted.
You're unmuted, Vincent. He can't communicate.
You might need to log out and log back in, Vinny.
Can't you speak for him, Mary?
Yeah, Mary, do you know what he's saying?
Yeah, well, so yeah, I'm not sure why the gates are locked. We did have somebody who was locking the gates, not sanctioned by parks. And so we worked with them to stop locking the park gate. So I'm not sure. The walkthrough is on my calendar. It's on Vinny's calendar for this coming Friday, the 27th. So Vinny just sent me a message. It was locked for security purposes many years ago, but it shouldn't be today. So it's just something we're going to have to resolve. There's no reason for the gates to be locked at this time.
Yay.
Yeah. So that's fine. And again, we did have somebody who was locking them who shouldn't have been. Just one thing I just want to note for Gilbert Ramirez, and we'll talk about this more at the walkthrough. There is a grassy area. Just I'm directionally, I'm not sure, just adjacent to the park that has the chain link fence around it. I'm not sure if that's what the area you were talking about, but that area is a DEP shaft site. So it provides air into the subway system. So that is not Parks Department property, and we can't take that particular fence down to use that area. If the DEP is amenable to it, then we'd have to do some work, I think. But there is a site that is not our property that we can't encroach on. But other things, aside from things that are, that would change the nature of the park, I think we would have to bring that to our commissioner before we make any changes. But we'll have a site walkthrough and we'll talk and we'll see about what we can do. It's a challenging site. It's right near a concrete plant, but there is a school there. And I think that you're right. I think we could just give it a little love.
Yeah, we're excited to hear more about what you know about the park because we live here, but
yeah,
we're very much looking forward to Friday. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
That's the agenda is over. Does anyone want to bring anything up they might have? Well, okay. I was going to throw William into the, but I should ask you because you want to just give us a quick pickleball update?
We don't have anything, no pickleball facilities besides the one gym.
Right.
So we're going to private facilities. We now have 10 members of North Brooklyn ranked in the top 20 in the country in the age group. and February I'll be number 1. So,
All right. Good
okay.
for you. But William, I got to tell you, I'm getting more and more emails, and I read more and more in the paper that it's just becoming, it's exploding. The sport itself is exploding. Mary, do we have any chances?
William, did you just say you're number 1 in pickleball?
William said he wants to be number 1.
Come February, I will be number 1. I'm ranked 3 right now.
Mary, do we have any? Is there any, any chance of getting courts anywhere in McCarran Park?
Absolutely, I think so. We just need, we don't have a capital project to include that into at this point in time.
Right.
But Commissioner Marr knows that there's a great demand for pickleball. They're putting in courts, I think, in South Brooklyn, which I know is not North Brooklyn. But I mean, this is happening in capital projects throughout the city right now and in Brooklyn. And I know that McCarran, the rec center is open for recreational pickleball use. So there are some areas. It's just, there's nothing dedicated strictly to pickleball, but users have made use of the McCarran asphalt field. I think they're using all of the field on some weekends and on Wednesdays. So there is a lot of use. And once we have that capital project moving forward to incorporate it into, I'm sure that we will.
Okay, good.
That's the question, who plays pickleball? Older people, younger people, men, women, who?
Yeah,
Everybody.
Tell you everybody.
Everybody.
Go ahead,
I
William.
have one player, Francine. She's 91, and she's ranked number 7 now.
Wow, I think I have to talk to you.
Yeah, but the thing is, right now I'm teaching Cub Scouts at handball courts at Cooper's Park, but it's killing me drawing those lines. I really want them to be permanently painted because it's just too much. But that's for a future conversation. But there's a great demand from young Cub Scouts and young 91-year-olds. Thank you.
Go ahead, Paul. You got your hand up, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. I wanted to bring up the issue, that we've talked about before, which is the off-leash dogs in Cooper Park.
Oh, yeah.
And I know it's a huge district-wide issue and everything, but the area in Cooper that's become the sort of de facto dog run is like, it's really huge and spreading and just like mud and like compacted dirt. And I do see the parks enforcement drive through almost every day, it seems like, but they just kind of like do a, whoop whoop and everyone scatters. But then as soon as they drive off, people are like coming back out with more dogs. So it just feels like I want to make a request that they actually ticket people. When I was talking to Vinny the other day, it sounded like there was a little bit of ticketing going on, but I'm wondering if you guys have is there a number that you aim to do like per week or any data that you can share with us about it?
About issuing summonses and things like that? No, it varies a lot. So PEP first tries to educate. If it's their first interaction with someone, they try to educate about dogs off leash and what to do, what not to do. But we'll have a talk with them about maybe staying in the park a little bit longer, not driving into the park, and ticketing more.
Who does the money go to, the ticketing money?
It goes into the general fund.
The general fund for all the city or the North Brooklyn?
All of the city.
Oh.
Well, Mary, I know the Parks Enforcement is a small unit, but we're out there in the morning. They're parked there, and they can see the same dogs we see running inside the lawn because they cut into the lawn, and I'm the one that has to go in there and chase them out. So if I can see them,
Vinny and I'll have a conversation with them. We'll talk to them about this.
Can we also have I don't know what kind of sign you have, but if we had one that talked about, older people, parents, people in the community are really asking that dog walkers not put their dogs here. Something appealing that it's not the Parks Department asking, the neighborhood really is asking people to go out of their way and not do X, Y, and Z. Can we have some kind of nice sign that makes an appeal to the people that are doing it?
So we do have signage in the park. We don't have those types of custom signs.
But
that we can put up.
we can make one, maybe the Parks Committee, Paul, could make
Yeah,
one.
Paul,
Well, unfortunately, Jan, I feel like we've in the past sometimes those signs are just kind of ripped up and thrown away. I don't know. It's unfortunate, but that seems to be
I
happening.
don't know. I see so many things that people do, like putting up, whether it's what do you call it, murals and everything else. If the people in the neighborhood do it, people listen to it. If it's an outside institution like the Parks Department, they don't. You know, I'm just trying to.
Want your dog to run on the grass, you take the sign down. I mean, and that's.
Well, and you know, I don't know if a sign would even help because like everybody knows they know the effects that they're having on the park. They know people don't like it. I mean, we have like, you know, a 50-person strong email list with, you know, everyone who takes their dogs out there. They're aware of what's happening, but I think they just know that enforcement is so kind of lax and wimpy and that they're not going to get tickets. I mean, I never even see an enforcement officer get out of the car, you know, or even like roll down the window. So it's just really like a very perfunctory kind of drive-by kind of thing. And I just think if if the consequences were at least slightly more severe, you know, maybe that would have an impact.
Sarah, you have your hand up if you'd like to join the conversation.
Yeah, I would like to sort of second what Paul just said, that I think that it's known that they're not supposed to be off leash, and that everyone's like, oh my God, the cops are coming, and everyone scatters, and then they all come back. And so it's completely normalized to hang out there and just scatter when the cops come and then to come back. So
I see.
if it was like, if the cops came more than once, because they do come and I see them and everybody sees them, and then they really, I have not seen them get out of the car ever. So I think that if they came and then they left and then they came back, they came every half hour, then it would change the norm. It would make it so that people were like, wow, that is a pain. That isn't enjoyable. You know, because right now there's no reason for them not to go there. Because they don't no negative.
That their neighbors don't like it should be enough that you're saying it doesn't work. Okay.
Let me just share is that those dog owners who are our neighbors been here for years are helping police, and they discourage that behavior. The problem is because of high rents, and we have a very transient population. They're there for a year and two, they're gone, and they could care less because it's not their community. It's not their. It's just a place for them to let the dog run free. They could care less. Mary, once when she was with us, saw someone having a dog in the playground. I've seen dogs unleashed in the playground with toddlers. These are people that could care less. You know.
I see.
And it's all the parks. It's not just.
I couldn't talk about Cooper. You know.
Yeah, but it's true in Transmitter. It's true.
Mary, I'm just curious if they do get a ticket, how much is that ticket that they get?
Vinny, how much is it?
Vinny, how much?
Can you put in the chat? Oh, there's no chat, right?
Or use your fingers.
Chat me, we can't hear you.
100? $100? I think
it goes up incrementally too. For if you have one ticket, it goes.
Deterrent,
and then your second, it goes up. So the more that you get.
Yeah, I think that's a
I mean, the other, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I wish we had more PEP to go around, but I will talk to them.
Yeah. Okay, that is a big. I don't want to dwell on it, but that's a big issue in all our parks, and everybody could speak about from Transmitter to Cooper to McCarran. It's just the dog owners just.
Bushwick Inlet.
Bushwick Inlet, yeah.
Yeah, Bushwick Inlet.
The revenue could stay in the park for the tickets.
Yeah, and you know what? It gets me angry because every single park, we have dog runs in every park. We push for dog runs. We put them all over the place, and you still get these kind of issues, these kind of problems.
I just have to say, our people, with the help of North Broken Parks Alliance, clean up our dog run area, and it's used a lot.
Yes.
Okay, but those are by our neighbors that live here, not this transient population. Thank you.
We may have to do what they used to do with the parks. You say we're going to lock it up and only have it open certain times until this behavior changes.
Well, the ticketing will, I think, $100 ticket a couple of times to somebody will change their attitude. I believe so.
Maybe.
So that's the way to
trying that first. Okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
Anything else we'd like to do? Go ahead, Jan. What do you got? What would you like
I
to say?
have to bring up the same old issue is that the women's swim group is still not being given the courtesy of having women be able to swim. And we're back to the fact that I don't know if you all knew at this committee that the group had received word some months ago that they now could have their 8 hours back of the swim pool, and they got it for 1 week. And they were told by their councilman that they had the pool and they had the hours. And after 1 week, they were told it was rescinded. Nobody has ever told them why. Nobody has ever talked to them. Nobody's ever met with them. It's and all these women, Muslim, Hasidic, Christian, old, young, are still out there paying money to be members, and it is really so humiliating. I just want to say that I hear these women all the time, and now I've spent 4 years of my organizing life on this little issue of 8 hours, uh, uh, 8 hours a week, the fight to get back what they had for 30 some years. So I am asking this committee, because I haven't heard the Parks Committee, the Women's Committee has brought it forth. Again, right now we're saying we have to have a meeting between the Parks Committee, because now they're bringing in the human rights in again, which was not the issue last time, but now they're trying another angle. And I think we need a serious meeting about who gets to decide. So one is it's like you're talking about with the dogs. Who does get to decide the use of a park if they're at space? Who does? You know, is it really the Parks Department or does the community where people live get to decide? Because the space is available. It's not that there's not space. And even in the summer, when there was plenty of space, they were not allowed to have the hours. And it's these women and the lap swimmers that keep that pool open. Between the two, they do keep that pool open and use. But now it's less use, and that's the other fear is that less use because there's not enough space for the women to get in. And the other day they didn't have a woman lifeguard, and they were told, I don't know, I can't get it right. Mary probably knows, a half hour before everybody was going to swim that there wouldn't be a woman lifeguard there. So I just either want to bring it up, and I can ask you, Phil, what you want to do. We can have I think it's either we're pushing for the Parks Committee actually would be very nice if you all brought in the people from the Parks Department and the City Hall, the council people, and the Human Rights Commission to a meeting and talk it through, because I don't think you know any more than I do after all these years and talking to a million people and spending countless hours. Why can we fight for this to be the most diverse city in the country and be proud of the fact that we take in the immigrants and everybody else, but we can't allow women to have 8 hours of a 72-hour block of time to swim? Oh, and older women are not swimming because of this too. This
Yeah,
is
when
not
was the 1 week that they had the 8 hours?
When was it?
Yeah.
About I think about 2 months ago. And
It's
they were so
interesting to
happy.
find out
They
what
all
happened
called
with
up. I wasn't in the hospital then, but they all called up, and everybody was so happy. They went for that 1 week, and in 1 week, I think Lincoln told them it's over. And he's not telling us. They're saying it's a Parks Department and Human Rights. And even in the past, when we spent all that time probably bringing this issue up over and over and over, the Human Rights Commission people, I met with them, they said it was not us. They said it's the mayor. And we all knew it was de Blasio. Well, we don't have de Blasio now. That's why we didn't elect him, and nobody
How
wanted
many
him as
hours?
president
Yeah,
either.
let's Stephen
How
for a
many
minute.
hours
Go
do
ahead,
they have
Steve.
now? How
That's
many hours are they allotted right now?
What?
How many hours are they allotted right now?
5, and they have the same 5 that de Blasio, and I don't know if you ever heard, but without spending more of your time, is that de Blasio held town hall meetings. And in order to get attention, And all of that, if you recall, we had, whether it was Lental or the council people, everybody went and met with the Parks Department and fought for this thing. We had no politician that did not support this, and the community board, other than one person, voted unanimously to support this ruling. And for most of the women on the women's committee and in our community board, we were all transformed in the last few years to get to really know the Hasidic women that we didn't know before, if you all recall. And now you have Bella, who was appointed, never had an Hasidic woman on the community board until we got that. And she's on and she's still fighting every day. This woman is writing letters, going there, counting. They're still counting. They're going over to Hanny and all the women you met. But it's an amazing situation. And Toronto, for example, has the same population, same group. They have women swim. We've had articles written about this, intellectual articles about
What about
why
other
women.
pools in the city? Is there women?
What?
I know that these women live here and it's their community, and so that's where they want their pool. But do other city pools have women's swim hours?
No, that was part of the issue. I don't know if they closed down others. There was a men's pool someplace. I could pull out my papers again, but I can't remember it.
St. John's.
That
St.
stopped.
John's Rec.
What?
Is it St. John's Rec?
Yeah, that one. There were two places. One that had men swimming, has swim time, and then here. And the women here, since I have been in this neighborhood in the 60s, they opened up that pool and kept it going when there was no staff, nothing over there at that pool. And then the men that what do you call it, the lap swimmers joined with them to save the pool. There was a big heroic time of people coming together, and they got that. I mean, you must remember, Phil, they got $1 million, couple dollars, but they fought for it. It's not like there's some freeloader sitting out there, trying to do. And all these women, which I don't want to keep talking at you, but I couldn't believe it that when I met them in the 70s, they couldn't swim. All these women from the camps in Germany to Muslim women learned to swim. So Henny, who comes, is a lifeguard. They became lifeguards, but they won't let them lifeguard for free, even. We have all these rules that make it difficult, but that's not why they're not there. It just happened all of a sudden overnight. De Blasio got into thinking, I don't know what, that if the women have their own swim, they can't have it. And if somebody wrote an article, it was a big thing, got into the New York Times, people didn't know the story, and all they saw was those Hasidic women. And that made a lot of people mad. There's a lot of anti-Semitism. And it got into the papers and it got on the line. All of us don't go online and do social media. So it took about 2 months before people caught on and fought back. And then we met with everybody. Way back, we met with all the people that were opposed, and we stopped having anybody opposed.
What happened to the 2 hours that were taken away, or 3, whatever, that they had the 8 hours? But maybe that's something that we can.
No, it wasn't given. That would be the other point. I think you asked the right question, Trina. If there was a reason that there was a group that needed it, right, that didn't have it, and it went to them, and it was used. But that is not the point that I'm making.
Why don't we try to find out what happened?
Jen, I think
they know what's
idea,
happened.
Jen.
They'll come in and talk to you anytime. So I think if you put them on the agenda, Phil, for your next meeting, people can lay out. They're over there. They're counting. They know who's there. They know how they're being treated. And I'm.
Jen, I think you have to meet. You mentioned Lincoln. Lincoln knows. He knows what's going on. He's the person we have to meet with.
I agree.
That's it.
And he was pretty upset about it. So so we're asking Lincoln also and the Parks Committee to meet with the people that are saying we can't have this thing that the whole neighborhood wants.
And let's set up a group meeting. Let's set up a meeting with all public officials.
Who are those people?
What?
Who are the opposition?
There's no opposition that I know of. I haven't seen an opposition person for the last 3 years. Once we dialogued it all through and people got to find out who the women were, and why this swimming means so much. The health issues alone are the big issues for a lot of the women. And then when older women from Marie Leon's and everybody else on the community board and Tish realized that's why they weren't swimming, because they didn't want to swim with the lap swimmers. They wanted to have space for women. Everybody got into it on our committee. So now people want women to be able to have space for whoever women. We don't want to have to compete with the men down your wonderful muscles down the
You're
lap
preaching to
lines.
the choir right now, and so let's put it on the committee. For
Yes,
now.
I think so. Yeah, Jan, get your committee to make a meeting. We'll join you. Make a joint meeting. Meet
Thank
with
you,
Lincoln.
Phil.
Meet with the mayor. You just met with De Blasio. Why don't you meet with that? Why aren't you meeting
And the
with Adam?
mayor supported us in the past, by the way,
That's it.
when he was borough president, and the borough
Let's get
president that's
together and
there supported us too.
put this issue to sleep, and we'll get these hours back, and this will be,
Thank you, Phil. And we just talked to Jennifer. She's in favor. I mean, so is Lincoln. Well, so thank you.
So there shouldn't be an issue then. We'll get together.
That'd be wonderful.
Okay. All right, everybody, we good for tonight? Thank you all for coming.
Meeting.
See you in
You did
February.
an excellent job chairing, Phil. I want to congratulate you.
Okay.
It was a warm and fuzzy, proper meeting. We're trying to be
No,
nice to each
I
other.
like. We get a lot of people. We do good. The Parks Committee always does good. Have a great evening, everybody. Take care, Joanna. Good night, Joanna. Go home to your family.
Good night,
You know the funeral tomorrow, Phil.
Thanks a lot.
Phil,
Everybody.
Irene Klementovich.
Oh, I
funeral.
know that. Yes, I saw the emails. Yes.
Big leader from all this stuff for many years.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.